latest part. Why that? NEP 2019, National Education Policy of Government of India, which took 4 years to be get drafted out. And finally, it came out in the last year, in the month of October, for the all stakeholders to be look it there and give their comments, the valuable comments. And I think very soon, likely to be going to be published for the whole country, which is carrying a school education, higher education, technical education, and vocational training education. In that particular, they are talking about outcome-based education system. And I'll tell you, if today in this scenario or post-COVID scenario, if we are talking something about outcome-based education system, it cannot be possible without AI. Yes, I have a proper identification. I am just going to be take over. So as per the Bloom taxonomy, what we supposed to be capture, what we supposed to be have the classification of thinking, that's the 6 cognitive levels of the complexity. What is that? Remembering? Yes, we were doing it from last many, many years. Most of our youngsters, including me, when we studied our time, we start remembering and just vomiting in the exam. Many of the teachers never thought of this. What is the level of understanding, whether I'm applying something on it, what I could analyze, or, the many, many other things. So this going till creation, the last step of the Bloom taxonomy is the creating. Today in the class of 100 students, it is difficult for me to even remember their names. Forget it about to distinguish who's a slow learner, who's a fast learner. It is very difficult. So only the artificial intelligence tool, which I'm going to be used today to get all this kind of data acquisition, data mining, data computation for my learners. Education sector in India, role of AI, just see here, 2 billion plus USD AI in Indian education market by 2023. What is that? 315 million number of students in India. Huge capacity. We having a 26% of a gross enrollment ratio. What about the 74% of the learners, where they will go? They have to have the AI enabled MOOCs programs. And today we are going even for the existing schools in the campus, they are away from the campus because of this COVID. And I doubt in the next coming semester also they will be in the campus, because yesterday IIT Delhi or IIT Bombay, the premier institution of my country, they already declared that next semester is going to be online semester. I'm really scared where without AI, how we will be doing the lab sessions, because with the AI, I think we can do some simulation part and lab sessions. So that is another area we have to touch. The classroom teaching is increasing the student strengths, because in my country, we started with a 30 in class. Later on, we came to 60. Then it came to the OBC level of students, then 12 students more, and then next more. So when we are going to be increase the class size without bothering whether we can have the personal attention for the every learner who's sitting, who's just watching my face, he or she can watch my face. Can I see his or her face who's sitting in the last bench and the second last bench? So this is the way like we are going to be capture all the facials. So AI is making it easier for students to receive the immediate feedback. I'm teaching something in a class. I may be in my flow, I may be in my way, but some of my class students like Tare Zamipar, the slow learners, they may never dare to ask, sir, can you repeat the sentence? Can you repeat this topic? Because the others, they feel, why you are not listening properly? It's not problem of the listening. I think it's a problem of grasping. All the 60 minds are not the equal level of synchronization. So the asynchronous learning via online program is a convenient way to the fit coursework in the busy schedule, and that is what we are going to be looking at. What the role of the teacher? Earlier, we used to have one blackboard, and whatever is written over there, we have just noted down. But the next teacher comes, he just rub the board and he'll go away. Next day, when the same teacher will come, he'll say, oh, yesterday I wrote a number of equations. I spent my 40 minutes of time. And again, it's going to be rubbed out by the next teacher, successor. So we again have to write. No, nowadays, with the help of these kind of tools, we are capturing the every moment, whatever the faculty is going to be delivered. So the AI assisting the teacher rather than replace them. AI enhanced education can unleash the educator fully utilize their training ways. So this is the betterment. So as the voice assistance, in many of the areas of my country, when we are talking something about the language barrier, yes, I'm listening a Harvard professor. He's speaking nicely. He's teaching nicely, but sometimes I couldn't catch his pronunciation. sometimes he couldn't catch his vocabulary, the level of teaching he's giving the language. So can't I invite my voice assistant to be just translate in my local language, my regional language to make understand? I think this is the one of the best tool it is going to be there. Of course, the facial recognitions. It is difficult to remember the name of the students, and after covering with the mask face, do you think without AI you'll be able to take even attendance of the class? Of the 60 students, or maybe more than 60 students? No, I think this is the one tool is going to be helpful to our Indian society education arena of my country. So emotional and movement monitoring already have discussed. I think it's I must add one thing over here. For the higher education, we having the two accreditation bodies as per the Washington Accord. The one is the NAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council, headquarter Bangalore. One is the NBA, National Board of Accreditation. Whenever any institution, and it is a mandate for all the institutions, higher education, they have to get that accreditation by 2023 as per the government mandate, because we are the quality assurance and we have signed Washington Accord again for 6-year extension. Our India is a member for this. It's a great pride for us. But what they are expecting the rubrics to get captured. The capturing of the rubrics, that analysis, the grading, which is the cognitive levels, how a teacher can take it. No, matching with the course outcome, with the program outcome, with the program specific outcome, it's a very typical job. And teacher has to have some assistant called AI to be helping out them for all this kind of automated data analytics and cognitive insights or the complex solutions. And this is the best way. Today is the ERP is happening, that other kind of platforms happening in the number of institutions, they should be AI enabled. So the faculty, whenever they want the data to be because by the time the student passed out, and after 3 years, if some recommendation letter have to be signed for some student, it is difficult to recall how he was, because many students passed out every year, But based on this data, I just click a name. Oh, you're talking about Suresh. Suresh was very good in football playing. Suresh was a good violin player or something. Then he got selected because he applied somewhere in that world where he wants to go by his passion. But the teacher is still recalling, and sometimes we, avoid to giving the recommendation because we don't want to go for the wrong recommendations rather than giving the recommendations. But if the database is available with the teacher for the every student who's passed out maybe 10 years back, this is what going to be happen with the AI. The technology will not replace the teachers, but the teachers who use technology will definitely replace the teachers, because I tell you, the 40 years experience today is going to be the leader for yesterday, not for the tomorrow. Because the expertise of 40 years of the previous technologies, I think it is going to be a liability, not the asset for the country. So that's what I just want to share here. Don't burn your opportunities for the temporary comfort. Of course, as today, without AI or without this MOOCs platform, many teachers are comfortable because they're getting their salaries, they're happy with their notes and other kind of stuff. But it is a temporary. Dear, you have to go out from this hole, and you have to have a ladder like this kind of edge cutting technologies. So that's what I just wanted to add, because my time was very short. We should go for some question answer sessions. So with this, I just wanted to conclude my talk, and I have to add on many things with the other panelists. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those insights from the journal, sir. Thank you very much. Now, we have Dr. V. Srinivas, Associate Professor in SRCE.
Yeah, please unmute
Dr. Srinivas,
your
you'll have to unmute yourself, sir.
Right. Good afternoon, everybody. My voice is clear?
Yes, sir.
Since many of the participants are students, I would like to remind all those students some few pivotal things, how all this Industrial Revolution 3.0 has come up. It was because of the visionary leadership of Sri late P.V. Narasimha Rao, when he was the MHRD minister in 1986, who brought out with a new education policy by keeping the possibilities and challenges of 21st century. And I would like to remind you that tomorrow, Sri P.V. Narasimha sir's centenary birthday is going to be coinciding our conference. And many of you may be knowing that P.V. Narasimha was the son of the soil of Telangana state. I am proud to say. And after the laying foundation by the visionary leader P.V. Narasimha Rao, by keeping the 21st century possibilities and challenges, who has introduced computer education in 1986 education policy, and which has been introduced immediately thereafter, 35 years back, and we are reaping the fruits of that visionary leaders, what you call policies. And later, after our beloved Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has taken the leadership of India, and he has come out with the schemes of Digital India and Make in India, and now we are witnessing the vertical plethora of opportunities in this Industrial Revolution 3.0, and we are going ahead towards fourth level of Industrial Revolution that will be propelled by the artificial intelligence. And we should also thank our beloved Chief Minister Sri K. Chandrasekhar Rao ji for his visionary leadership being provided to the IT industry, and his dynamic cabinet associate Sri K. Tarak Rao ji for his continuous support to the IT industry, and under the able administration of the Chief Secretary Sri Jayesh Ranjan, who has spoke to you in the morning session. So with this introductory remarks, I would like to appreciate the efforts of Prashant, Narendra and Mahesh Kumar's efforts in conceiving this virtual conference. I wish that had this conference had been conducted 2 years back, we would have faced the challenges posed by the COVID-19, particularly in the sector of education, in a more better way. Of course, we are not lagging behind. With great efforts of all the IT giants, we are able to interact with each other just like I am interacting with you. And another thing is, I would like to appreciate Polishetty brothers and Mahesh Kumar for bearing the torch in the artificial intelligence sector, who are working relentlessly to materialize the possibilities and opportunities which will be provided by this artificial intelligence and machine learning. And now let us see, since I am asked to talk on the artificial intelligence, how it is impacting the education, but there are plethora of opportunities starting from automation of the industry and automation of several works in all the sectors of economy. In addition to that, like deliverance of the government services. I have several blueprints in my mind. Sometime back, I spoke to Mahesh Kumar how the government services can be delivered to the needy and eligible persons without the intervention of anybody third party. Because once a third party is intervening the deliverance services, or once the ego problems of the officials or any kind of illegitimate expectations of the officials, which is sabotaging the benefits of the government to be delivered to the needy and deserved persons. And even just general office day-to-day file movement in the government office also can be addressed with the support of artificial intelligence. I have several ideas to address these challenges faced by the government, starting from this and even traffic management, crime investigation, and even what you call supporting the farmers in agriculture sector to get fair price for their agricultural produce, food processing, and everything, marketing. There is a plethora of opportunities which can be addressed by the artificial intelligence. So all the budding and prospecting students of engineering who are having passion towards this artificial intelligence. It is not enough if you just have technical know-how. You should have passion towards this artificial intelligence, then you can create miracles. And job opportunities are n number of job opportunities are there. There are some critics that artificial intelligence may be affecting the job world, but it is not. It is the other way around. Artificial intelligence is going to create more number of jobs, but there will certainly the work culture, work style will be different, and whatever the manual work which is used by the human beings will be replaced by machines like robotics, and many of the physical labor work culture will become redundant, and in that place knowledgeful persons will be engaged in some other creative activities. So that's what we are experiencing after the Industrial Revolution 3.0. And next, when it comes to the day-to-day practice of education system, just I would like to extend what Manpreet Manna sir has mentioned, that slow learner students. Actually, sir, slow learners are not the educationally backward learners. Slow learning is a style of learning. An American professor has conducted research that slow learners will be having more knowledge and creativity than the so-called gifted children. He has proved it by conducting research, and he has started a separate school and college meant for slow learning people. So slow learning is a kind of style of learning. The students who wants to learn all the dimensions of a learning item, they are taking more time. So since the teachers are not having patience to give that much of time, they are labeled as slow learners and they are labeled as educationally backward children. No, this is proved other way around. So next, when it comes to the applications, direct applications of the artificial intelligence, we have several applications in the day-to-day classroom sector, particularly teaching. Most of the teaching work is filled with a lot of physical drudgery, particularly no homework correction and conducting examinations, assessment, formative assessment, summative assessment, and like that. There are so many physical works which are burdening the teaching community, and this artificial intelligence can come out with solutions how to handle the homework corrections by introducing this artificial intelligence to these robots. The robots can correct the homework of the students, and in India also some of the schools already introduced the robotic teacher, and all the information is fed to the robotic teacher, and the robotic teacher will go to the class and teach the students, and even classroom management is also being conducted by the robotic teacher. If any student is peeping through the window, the robotic teacher will immediately identify the student and just the robotic teacher will address, Mr. Rohit, you are peeping through the window, just you attend my class. So this kind of phenomenal paradigm shifts are taking up in this teaching learning process with the advent of artificial intelligence. And when it comes to the assessment, particularly formative assessment and summative assessment is filled with so many fallacies, because most of the times the teachers are preparing standardized tests or they are conducting standardized tests which are supplied by the educational authorities. And these standardized tests are testing the students in a horizontal way. In fact, these tests are not testing the individual capacities, individual aptitudes, individual scholastic achievement of the students. And these tests are only identifying the achievement level of the particular student in comparison to the other students' performance. As a result, what is happening, all the students are being tested on a horizontal scale. But that is not the correct assessment process. And Manpreet Manna sir, you have mentioned the Bloom's taxonomical classification of objectives. Now we have already come out from that Bloom's taxonomical objectives, sir, and we are now addressing and dealing with the dimensions of the learning, which is far beyond than what Bloom has explained. And one institution in the United States of America, Association for Curriculum Supervision and Development, which is coming out with a lot of research and innovation that should be incorporated into the teaching learning process. I would like to request all the participants to just sometime when they are free to browse ASCD website, ASCD, Association for Supervision of Curriculum Development. And the learning is understood in a very, very different way. The so-called traditional learning styles are totally being replaced, because as a psychologist, basically I'm a psychologist also in addition to being a what you call social philosopher and general philosopher. There will be something special and unique in each and every student. Unfortunately, our assessment system, which is being practiced in the school level and college level, is not assessing that particular unique capability of that particular students. As I said earlier, that all the students are assessed horizontally. in comparison to other students. Like one got A grade, one got B grade, one got C grade. But I would say, as a psychologist, that each and every student is having a unique potential, and they will be having unique capabilities. And our testing system is not addressing these unique capabilities of each and every student. If we are successful by in identifying the unique capabilities of the students, we can guide the student accordingly.
Dr. Srinivas, we have
Yes,
2 more minutes, sir, so that we need to move to the third speaker. Thank you.
Sure. I would suggest that artificial intelligence can conduct virtual assessment by creating a kind of question bank, like easy to answer questions, moderately difficult, and very difficult questions. So the students should have chance to pick up all the questions depending upon their capacity, and after answering those questions, the student can be graded automatically at what grade the student stands according to their own individual capacities. And next, when it comes to diagnosing the special needs of the children, particularly a Swedish company already has come up with the LexPro, which is diagnosing the dyslexia, dyscalculia, and even attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and autism by following the rapid eye movements of the students. So it can be diagnosed as early as possible, and the students can be helped accordingly by incorporating the artificial intelligence. And even the students who are having a special talents and who are having passion towards certain arts and other things also can be promoted by introducing artificial intelligence into the teaching learning process. Particularly, this artificial intelligence can also be introduced in the staff selection process, particularly by the government agencies and the private agencies. See, the written test will be gauging the information level of the student, how far the student is informed and what amount of subject-specific domain knowledge the student is having. But with regard to the personality characteristics, I propose that, and I presume that artificial intelligence can definitely intervene and gauge the personality characteristics of the persons, how far they are honest, how far they are hardworking, and how far they are really futuristic, and how far they will be taking the challenges. So these facial expressions and facial feelings can be fed to all the systems, and based on that database, these gadgets which are equipped with this machine learning capacity can definitely assess the prospecting employee. And this also can be used even to value the answer scripts of preliminary examinations such as civil service also. Because when the civil services aspirants have written the conventional answer scripts, the I'm concluding in half a minute or 1 minute. The evaluator who is valuing the answer scripts written by the civil service aspirants, particularly the evaluator or the examiner, may be suffering from fatigue or maybe having some other kind of hectic preoccupations. So as a result, the answer scripts may be carrying the valuation of the answer scripts may be carrying the personal bias of the evaluator. But if these answer scripts are scanned into a system where artificial intelligence will scan all the scripts, because now we have several facilities that text can be converted into speech, or text can be assessed automatically by feeding the value points of each and every question. So based on the value points of that particular question, how best that civil service aspirant has written the value points into the answer can be assessed and can be given grades accordingly. In addition to these many applications, artificial intelligence have several other number of applications. Since due to the paucity of time, I'm unable to come out with all those possibilities. But I'm sure that artificial intelligence, as it is popularly said, as a next revolution of revolution as it was done by the electricity, invention of electricity. And we are already experiencing the what we call Google Duplex, which is a conversational natural language processing, and IBM's Watson Classroom, which are though they are coming out at the preliminary level, but they can be having n number of opportunities to revamp the total teaching learning process and day-to-day classroom teaching and classroom management and classroom administration, and even the administration of the students' database with regard to the summative assessment and individualized assessment process can be taken up with the help of artificial intelligence. And I am very confident that this artificial intelligence is going to revolutionize all the sectors, including the education sectors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Srinivas. Now we have Dr. D.M. Mamta, the Registrar, SPV Tirupati, who will discuss how AI is impacting the education system. Dr. Mamta?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Mr. Mahesh and the team of Orbit Shifters for making me a part of this particular event on artificial intelligence. Well, I'm here to share certain of my ideas and also with the pinch we felt, the need of artificial intelligence in the current educational system. Well, the Indian education sector has been slow in the uptake of AI, mainly due to apprehensions of educators and parents about trusting machines in teaching students. But now, AI is being used to revolutionize the education sector and answer the many problems that have been clogging the education sector for many years. We all know that India has an acute shortage of teachers at elementary, secondary, higher, and even at university level, higher education level too. According to the statistics given by the MHRD in 2016 survey, there is a shortage of 1 million teachers across the country. In the case of universities and colleges, still it is chronic problem of shortage of teachers, and the problems of finding a qualified people to fill this gap has become even more complicated. In such a scenario, how can India, a country with the second largest population in the world, cope up with the challenge of providing quality education to all? Several education experts are saying that our system needs a revolutionary technological intervention. Yes, an intervention that would make an education more inclusive and accessible. Bringing AI to the classrooms in India is the hour of need as the one-stop solution that we have been looking for because of the following reasons. Right from the e-commerce to healthcare to education, in each and every sector, the intervention of AI has increased manifold. Many companies are now investing, developing their own versions of AI, and that's why it is exactly the next big thing. And makes the machine to imitate intelligent human behavior, making our digital automated process smarter. Also, each and every decision that we make is now data driven. The best example of the same is online recommendation that we receive while surfing retail websites such as Amazon and Flipkart. It is the machine learning technology that recommends your product based on your previous purchases. And now imagine using similar technology to track the performance of an individual student based on his grades, participation, and performances and attendance. Won't it help the student to enhance his or her performance? Yes, definitely it would. Definitely it will support the student to improve his performance. Therefore, AI has taken seriously and literally to fix many of the loopholes in education sector in the coming days. Exactly in this current scenario of COVID-19 lockdown gap of this academic year, the government of India is contemplating how to conduct examinations for more than 10 lakh students. They could somehow cover the unfinished portions to the e-classes using some online free platforms and classroom platforms. But coming to examinations, students have a lot of issues to finish their exams. Due to the lack of sufficient software infrastructure, all the universities still not sure if they can evaluate the students online. Well, in this context, I just want to quote Bill Gates through his foundation. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has invested more than 120 million in personalized learning. The idea is to develop a software that creates individual lesson plans for students based on their performance. The amount itself confirms that world is taking AI seriously, and so should we. Well, it has several advantages. impacting the higher education, not only the higher education and education at all levels. The best example we know is the AI of AI, the Cortana by Windows, Siri by Apple, Alexa by Amazon. These are voice recognition systems that imitate human intelligence. These systems are not only helping us to gain knowledge, but also enhance our decision-making ability. This technology is used in certain areas to track vital issues pertaining to education too. For example, Andhra Pradesh government has conducted experiments in 17 districts, and one of it is Vishakhapatnam. An application based on the data of students related to various dynamics such as the academic performance, the reason for school dropouts, quality, skills of the teacher, social demographics, gender, etc. This application has found predictive patterns such as a probable student who would drop out. The state government has acquired the list of thousands of such students who might drop out from the schools from the next academic year onwards. This data-driven decision is possible because of AI and machine learning, which could help the government to take the decision in preventing the dropouts and save the child's future. So it clearly explains how much the AI can impact the education system in our country. Such experiments are a proof of AI working as a catalyst in streamlining the education system and helping institutions make better decisions. So implementing AI at a large scale would definitely help us to fix the loopholes and straighten the current education system. Secondly, the personalized education, which have already learned that there is a huge dearth of teachers in India. Moreover, the standards of curriculum and teaching has not improved at a faster rate. Many articles in mainstreaming media have repeatedly highlighted that our students are denied of good quality education. In such case, what can AI do here? AI can bring out a solution for this problem too. The most important reason is that AI system can adapt to individual student learning and grasping abilities. It can also find out his or her strength and weaknesses. How much ever we tried, single teacher per classroom is not enough to fulfill the needs of all the 60 students. In this scenario, enabling the students with the systems in the schools and the classrooms or at their homes might be the solution to solve these problems of low quality and inaccessibility of the education at one stroke. Well, coming to the next factor is the assistant to teachers. Teachers have to handle multiple responsibilities such as evaluation, grading, paper setting, creating marks, sheets, tracking the performance of every student. If these tasks are made easy through AI, then they would focus more on course development, curriculum development, teaching quality, and skill development. And here the AI system can assist the teachers in all these tasks, making these tasks not only automated, but also intelligent. With AI systems in place, it will be easier for the teacher to focus on the student rather than mundane administrative tasks. Further, accessibility and inclusiveness of the education, and in this particular factor, India has always promoted the policy of education for all. As of now, India has over 600 million young people. AI can make education more accessible and inclusive at the same time. Various tutoring programs, learning applications with skill-based curriculum are being developed across the globe. And this AI-enabled system will bring global classrooms at your fingertip. It will not only empower students, but also teachers in upgrading themselves with the current trends. Such system could be boon for rural education. Students living in the most important part of the India could also be able to learn the way it is learned in the urban setting. This is the biggest lacunar we identify when we wanted to conduct the online examination to the students. And further, that's one more benefit in the education system is proctored online assessment. This is again a new technology that can help to simplify the exam invigilation process. Student can appear appear for exam from any location, classroom, home, and system is able to invigilate such exam remotely using remote proctoring. We were given a kind of demo session recently for a proctored online evaluation system for the students. See, with this COVID-19, this lockdown period has really pushed the higher education system into digital mode, and for which we are really not prepared. Had we learned about the impact of the AI and its functions, or its the various things it can do to the higher education system, probably the government would have taken a policy that's in the larger context to include AI in the curriculum. But it at
Dr.
least
Mamta,
yeah,
sorry,
at
I'm
least
interrupting. We got 2 minutes, respecting the time, ma'am.
sure. So it is time we realize this important. AI in the classrooms is the way forward. And as of now, India has over 600 million young people. All of them deserve a good education, skills, and job. India has the greatest demographic advantage of being young in the next 20 years when compared with other countries. The question here, the challenge before here is, are we ready to empower all these 600 million youngsters with quality education and latest skills to take over the world challenges? When the entire world looks towards India for want of young, dynamic, and skillful human resource, are we really ready to prepare our young population to face this challenge? In this condition, yes, AI can be the best suited answer. It is the way forward. So let's explore more possibilities for the betterment of AI in the higher education system. Thank you all for these Orbit Shifters and all the team members. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and sharing my bit of mind concerning the impact of AI on the higher education. Thank you, Mr. Mahesh Kumar.
Thank you very much,